Hey, Foot Clan, when you win something, Mike, you might not know anything about this, but when you win...
You shut your mouth, sir.
When you win something...
I'm a winner.
You need to celebrate. And you go to fantasychamps.com, you get yourself one of those beautiful trophies. They got the gold trophy, the crystal trophy. They got that Lombardi-style trophy. They got fantasy football rings to celebrate your title the right way, all custom engraved. So put your team name on there, and then, Mike, you can brag once you do that appropriately. Check it out, fantasychamps.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from pristineauction.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Welcome into the Fantasy Footballers Podcast for Thursday, January 10th, 2019 is here, and the Fantasy Footballers are here with you. It is a two-man band today. Mike is here. Not really two. I mean, Brooks is back there. He's back behind the camera.
2 1/4.
We keep backing him up. Just about 30 yards back.
Well, the stench.
40 yards.
It's legendary.
That's rude.
Yeah,
he smells wonderful.
I mean, what was it? Tuesday's show, I insulted his intelligence. Now I have shifted to his
physical,
his infuriating body odor.
No, if you want infuriating body odor, it's Jay Grizz.
Never upset the bear.
Now, Jason will be back with us next week.
Yes.
He is wrapping up a family vacation. Congratulations to Jason.
No, right now Jason's gathering the truth.
Oh, for next week.
Because all next week, that's when the Truth series starts. We break down the truth of what happened with these fantasy football players. Guys like, I don't know, Derrick Henry. Yeah, we got a top 20 running back here, or do we?
Yeah, well, we're not going to tell you yet.
Nope.
Today's a special show. Today we've got some news to break down, a lot of it coaching related. We'll talk about the fantasy implications of the moves that have been made. But most of the show is going to be spent on a very special Fantasy Footballers AMA, an Ask Me Anything mailbag, where where do we solicit questions from, Brooks? Everywhere?
Everywhere.
YouTube, Instagram,
Twitter,
Facebook. So that's where you gathered.
The corner. I saw him out there.
The corner. Oh, people from the corner?
Yeah,
on
Brooke,
the corner?
I saw Brooks going out there.
Oh, I see where you went. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have questions about everything and anything. We'll be answering them on the show today. Very excited about that. It's always fun people have questions about the show. They've been listening for years. Maybe you don't know something or you want to know something. Some of them are nickname related. I know that. But we've also got, by the way, you can follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. Subscribe, click the bell over there. And thefantasyfootballers.com is the website. Now, we have a little quick question of the day. Now, Brooks prepared a Who Am I? And we've done these before, where he gives us little hints and we try to figure out who this person is. Now, most of the time, I'm in on the secret. But without Jason here today, I'm not in on the secret. I'm guessing with you, Mike, which is a weird place to be, where I'm guessing alongside. Now, Brooks, you going to break these down for us? Can you give us the clues? See if we can figure out this Who Am I?
Yeah, I think I can handle it.
Okay. So let's do it. Let's see how good I am.
Who am I?
All
Brooks.
right.
This is all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game over.
You win. Let's move on to the news.
All right. News time. No.
All right. These are all half PPR scoring, by the way, because that's what we prefer here at the Fantasy Footballers.
All right.
Okay. First clue. I finished as the wide receiver 22. In total points.
Wide receiver
fantasy points.
22 in total points.
Now,
are you talking about?
I'm not going to guess yet.
Robbie Anderson? Okay. I just want to guess on every clue.
Number 2. I did this in just 12 games.
Oh, wide receiver 22.
All right.
In 12 games.
I have a guess, but I'm going to save it.
All right. Give me one more.
Now, we brought up the truth episode coming up
shrimp.
next week.
Nate McMillan.
So Truth episode's next week.
Right.
So I got some stats from that, consistency stats.
Okay, so this is supposed to help us along.
Yes, this is a two-parter. So 3A is I was tied for number 4 in consistency among wideouts. And
how many games did he play?
12. And
So I've got to guess too.
Yeah, and because I'm going with he missed 4 games due to not injury.
And
really?
3B
Give it to me.
is he had 0 great finishes, but he had 0 bust finishes as
Yeah,
well.
that sounds like the guy I'm thinking of.
Who do you got?
He's got a majestic beard. Am I right, Brooks?
Yeah, and what you said earlier is actually hit number 5.
Which will go give it to the people.
So we'll skip 4. The 4 games I missed were not because of injury.
Yep.
You want the last one?
There were, well, give us the clue.
All right, last clue is my team is still in the playoffs.
Yeah, so there were 2 players this offseason who were a hot topic of discussion. Did you take the draft discount because they were suspended for 4 games? That was Mark Ingram, and that was Julian Edelman, right, Brooks?
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Because he was awesome. But he never won you a week, but you were very glad that you sat him on your bench for 4 games.
You know where I thought he was heading was it got ruined when it said 0 great games and 0 busts. But I thought he was heading Cooper Kupp's direction. Because I thought maybe Cooper Kupp had worked himself up into the 20.
Games he played.
He didn't play as many as I thought. He actually
played like 8 games, 9?
Yeah, he ended up like in the 40s at wide receiver, where I thought maybe he had done enough. But it'd be interesting to see where Julian goes next year, as well as Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Patriots do with the wide receiver position. They have to do something.
No more Josh Gordon.
Nope.
Yeah.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Sleeper.
All right, you ready for this? It's the
coaches aplenty.
Yeah, coaches everywhere. Packers have hired Matt LaFleur as the head coach.
Cramming up your cram hole, LaFleur.
Oh, we're going dodgeball.
Well, might as well. We already have the fitness consigliere.
Look, it doesn't have to be a complicated joke to get said here on the Fantasy Football.
No, and that one got Brooks good.
So, look, different opinions. I've tried to poll some of the Packers fans. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Are you confused as to how to think? At the end of the day, I would imagine this is where Aaron Rodgers wanted the hire to head, which is an offensive mind. Matt LaFleur served under Sean McVay. He was the Titans offensive coordinator for just a year, right?
Yes, just for a year, because last year, I should say 2 years ago, was the Rams OC, and before that, he was down with Matty Ryan for his MVP year.
And the thing is it's easy to look at the Titans and say they didn't have a great offensive year, because they didn't, and they ran the ball a ton.
It's very, very easy.
So it makes it so easy to say. But I look at the Titans offense and I kind of say they never got into a rhythm. Marcus Mariota was injured throughout the season. I don't know if I judged Matt LaFleur's career off of one season in Tennessee. So
the Packers did not.
No, the Packers did not. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm probably pretty happy to have an offensive-minded head coach from the McVay tree.
Sean McVay.
He's changing the world right now.
He needs to be collecting royalties, because there are coaches all over. They're just getting money.
I know how to be a head coach in the NFL. Step
you
one.
Do? Okay.
Yes, I got it. And yeah, put the camera on me, Brooks. Step one, I'm in my 30s. All right.
Okay, that's
I'm 30.
Step one.
I'm 34 years old.
It's the new teens.
Okay. Step two, obviously, I got a real kind of like baby beard, right?
Right. Not full beard.
It's not stubble, but it's not a full beard.
It's in-betweener.
It's groomed, like a groomed. Step 3.
Sunglasses.
You put them sunglasses on. Do I not look like Kliff Kingsbury now?
You do.
So that's all, and that's it. I mean, that's really all there is to it.
That's how you have to. Well, no, you're forgetting the step where you kind of look like Sean McVay, or you were around him. Maybe you got some of his aura, some of his his masculine
perspiration dripped onto you. Yeah. So
you tap it behind your ears.
It's funny, man.
Since Dave McVay.
Well, let's talk about that again, because the Cardinals hired ex-Texas Tech head coach, ex-USC offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury as their new head coach, 39 years old, sunglasses aplenty, nice beard.
Yeah, got a Mortal Kombat vibe going on with his name. Looks like Johnny Cage.
Yes.
I'm still trying to narrow it down what I want to call him, but what a wild ride, a wild wacky ride for Kliff K, who goes from being essentially relieved of his duties as a head coach.
Yeah, he was the head coach for Pat Mahomes. Everybody out there, when he was at Texas Tech, he was Pat Mahomes' head coach.
Takes a demotion, a coaching demotion, to go be USC's offensive coordinator, which that's still fine. I mean, that's still a prestigious job.
Yes.
Transition to the head coach of an NFL franchise. What?
He needs to put some cookies in the mail for Sean McVay because this is the trend. This is the newest trend. Now, I don't like it. At the end of the day, I don't like the hire.
Oh, really?
No. At the end of the day, I don't. And we're Cardinal fans out here. We're in Arizona, and I want to like it. But the problem that I see with it is that Sean McVay, for all his unique characteristics,
right?
NFL experience.
Yes.
Opportunities as offensive coordinator, success as offensive coordinator, been around the NFL game. I'm not sure what I know of Josh Rosen, what I know of Kliff Kingsbury, I just don't know if he has the experience. Now, his offenses were great in college.
Yeah, I have the numbers up in front of me.
Okay.
So as a head coach, 6 years at Texas Tech, only one time did his offense finish outside of the top 23, and that includes 2015-2016 where he was the second best offense in college and the fifth best offense in college. This is what the NFL is doing.
It is.
They are the new rules are transitioning thing to the pass game, so the curmudgeons at the NFL have to accept that it's a passing league. It's no more Mike McCoy running up the middle every single time. That crap doesn't work anymore. So I like the hire from the perspective of it's everything. It's not another retread where you're just going to be okay or mediocre. I think that Kliff K will come in and he'll be incredible, or it's going to be terrible, and you go try to find the next coach.
Well, they need a good defensive coordinator and some experienced people.
That's part of why McVay
him.
was so great is he gathered very smart people around him that let him focus on what he does best.
Yeah. Bruce Arians, surprise. Head coach once again, this time of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, this is great news for Jameis Winston.
Yes.
Bruce Arians loves the vertical passing
Great
game.
news for Jameis, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. And also, is there a possibility that Deshaun Jackson
changes his
mind
maybe.
And says, I've seen what you do with fast guys, so maybe I want to stick around.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Bears defensive coordinator Vic Fangio is the new Broncos head coach.
Fangio.
And the Broncos have brought back Gary Kubiak as their offensive coordinator. So any feelings there? I mean, Fangio's a defensive-minded guy. It's great for Chubb and Von Miller, but
yeah, that doesn't help my fantasy team.
We care a lot more about what Kubiak's going to do there, and he's been a competent play caller.
Yeah, he's been a good OC, so I'm fine with it.
Todd Bowles still hasn't signed a contract as D coordinator. He's going to choose between Tampa and that new Chicago opening.
Yeah, I think Todd Bowles had his mind made up until Vic Fangio took the job opening things up in Chicago, which should give any defensive mind pause when you say, wait, the Chicago job's open?
Yeah, you might want to jump in there.
I'm going to at least try to get that
with
one.
Khalil Mack. Thoughts on Freddie Kitchens being named the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns? Freddie Kitchens was the offensive coordinator. Greg Williams was the head coach. He's been relieved of all duties.
Look, I try to keep things positive on this show. We rib people, of course, but Greg Williams.
You're not a Greg Williams fan.
My opinion on Greg Williams is well known. That not a big fan.
Yeah,
not a big fan of Bountygate, how he carries himself, how he thinks that things should be run in the NFL. Not a big fan. So the fact that they went with Freddie Kitchens actually brings me great joy. We were talking about this in the studio, that we just imagine the brass in Cleveland. They're interviewing Freddie Kitchens. They're just like, yeah, sure. But meanwhile, they're texting Baker saying, yo, hey, Baker, you like Freddie? Should we bring him in?
Thumbs up, thumbs down?
If he gives the thumbs up, this is where we are. So this is a great success story of a guy playing his way or earning his way into a head coaching job.
Yeah. So congrats. I mean, this is good for Baker.
Yes.
Great
news.
Do we know, is he going to maintain play calling duties as the head coach?
I have not heard that yet.
Okay. So,
but it's at least going to be his offense.
Yeah, he was with the Cardinals from 2007 to 2017 before he transitioned to be the running backs coach. Then he was promoted to offensive coordinator. So in less than a year, he goes from running backs coach to head coach, which is probably the least weird case of all these starting head coaches. Josh McDaniels says the book is closed on head coaching interviews for him. He'll probably be back as offensive coordinator then. He'll probably be playing the eventually replace Belichick role.
Yeah, that's probably what he's got to go for now.
All right, I want to get into this AMA and spend a lot of time in there, but real quick picks for the divisional round. We've got the games coming up, one of the most exciting weekends of the year. I'm sure people want to know who we have in these matchups. So, Colts, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
As do I. Cowboys, Rams.
Rams.
As do I. Chargers, Patriots.
Chargers.
So do I. Eagles, Saints.
Saints.
Yeah, we don't have any changes here. Brooks, do you have any different picks? I know you're a Cowboy fan.
I still picked the Rams to win.
How about the Patriots game?
That's the different one. I think you got to go with Patriots.
Yeah, I understand that. So we shall see what Nick Foles does in New Orleans.
If Nick Foles can win this game, do they start building the statue on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, they probably get ready to play the Rams.
I'm talking about the city.
Yeah, I know. Look, we'll see.
Right.
We'll see what happens. That was today's news and notes. Hey, listen, remember, you want to play Dynasty, go play it on Sleeper. Get the Sleeper app, play Dynasty. No ads on the app. Great platform, always innovating. Check it out. All right, Mike, you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Mailbag.
AMA! I was really hoping you'd
Yeah,
I really was.
I'm not going to let everyone down.
So we did a no holds bar, ask us anything you want, AMA. Tried to pick, I know Brooks picked the majority of these questions. We tried to pick ones.
A lot of questions about my waist size, which is frankly rude.
Did you end up figuring it out, or is that are you more of a stretchy pants guy?
How dare you ask me that question?
Can stretchy pants be a waist size?
Yes, you have to get a large or a medium.
Oh, okay. So you get okay. I got you.
I mean, we're not animals.
Yeah. But, I mean, when you go to buy slacks, do you ask for the stretchy pants?
If everything could be stretchy pants, the world would be a much happier place. Like, for a long time, I don't know if you realize this, but the voyage for men's jeans and women's jeans, we have come a long way.
Tell me about this, Mike.
The ladies' jeans, they've been stretchy for a very, very long time. Meanwhile, us dudes are watching Brett Favre commercials going, yep, Wranglers, they don't move. That's how I like it. And then all of a sudden...
You know who loves those Wranglers? Greg Williams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but he's like, can I get him in khaki?
Can I get him high and tight in the crotch?
These ones move a little bit too much. I can step forward more than a ruler.
He gets them wet and leaves them out in the rain. Yeah. Wants to harden them up.
Make them extra crispy.
All right.
But anyway, jeans now stretch, and it's so much better.
Well, yeah, we need that. We need that.
I do.
I told you today, Mike. When it comes to personal pizzas, I can't not finish.
Well, it's personal.
I mean,
that's on them for saying that the size is personal.
Hey, guess what? The Bucks just hired Todd Bowles.
Oh, well, that answers that question.
Yeah, that's settled.
That means the Bears said no.
So everybody out there, since we recorded the day before, they're like, yeah, we know that. But now you know that we know that, right? All right, our first question on today's Fantasy Footballers AMA comes from Instagram. This one's from Paul M.
Palm?
And he says, Palm.
Something.
It's Palm, but P-A-U-L.
Yep.
Yeah. How did you three guys meet? Do you want to handle this one?
Well, I'll tell the tale of I met Jason. Actually, you should probably start because you met Jason first.
Yeah, well, I've known Jason for a very long time. He's a couple years older than I am. We met in high school because Jason chose to enter himself into the freshman.
You're going to be really shocked at this.
Yeah, Jason the junior was in the freshman Spanish class. All right? And I was in there
shame.
as a little freshman. And when you go to high school, all the freshmen are quiet and scared little children. And here's boisterous Jason Moore. And we started actually, our friendship started playing fantasy basketball way back in high school, became good friends, played real basketball all the time. He'll tell you, if he was here, how many times he beat me because I was like 5 foot tall. And so we met each other. He went off to college. We reconnected when he started a business doing Facebook gaming, all right? This was back in the Farmville heyday. We had a Facebook gaming company that he started, and he grew it with another partner up to, there were 25 people there at one point in time. And I worked for him at that company. I was the COO of that business, and Mike was hired a couple years after I started.
Yeah, I found Jason. I got a bachelor's in game design, and I quickly needed a job. And there's a gaming group, I think IGDA. Is that what it is?
It is, yeah.
So it's like-minded people who make video games and meet. And Jason gave a speech, and I went up and I wowed him.
Yeah, you said hire me, man.
Yeah. I said I do bleeps and the bloops.
And so you did game audio design for us, and we worked together. And basically, the best way to paint this picture of our three friendship was that we were fantasy football fanatics in the midst of our regular job here at that company. And so we worked together for 6-7 years together. That company started to shift, and that's when we started the podcast. So we met through basically that business, working together and doing our fantasy leagues together, and that's how we got started. Does that answer that one good, Brooks?
Well done.
Well, does it answer it well?
Superman does good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I learned that in freshman English. Twitter question from @JohnHicks33.
I'm going to believe that it's from John Wick.
John Wick has sent us a question.
Thank you.
What was the hardest thing about starting up your own brand and podcast?
Ooh.
Do you have an answer for that one? I mean, there are several things.
I'll speak to the podcast side. The hardest thing for me was confidence, like believing that you had something to offer, believing that the advice that I was giving was actually relevant and will help people win. And so it's, even though, I mean, I was winning and doing well, it's still, there's that level of confidence of a person pulling up the podcast for the first time going, who is this guy who's got a really high-pitched laugh? I mean, he says he knows what he's talking about.
At that time, a man bun.
Oh, yes, the man bun, the much larger beard. So I would say that was the hardest part for me, was just believing in myself.
Oh, we believed in you, Mike.
I appreciate that.
But no, I would kind of piggyback and just say that, like, anytime you're starting a brand, you're starting a business, like, credibility isn't built in. Like, I mean, you don't just get it necessarily.
Right.
And so, that's kind of saying what you're saying, but from a credibility standpoint, you can't replace time in an industry. You can't replace time in a business. So you have to be consistent. And I think for us, it was a matter of being very, very consistent early on in the podcast and then letting time pass. I mean, you only earn credibility as you succeed and as you are consistent in what you're doing. So I think the most challenging thing was establishing dominance. Dominance. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Industry credibility early on. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the barriers to entry, I mean, the podcasting field, you can buy a microphone.
Yep.
You can flip on the switch. I mean, the barriers to entry aren't intimidating. Instagram question from Henkel Media. When you guys first started doing the show, how many times did you think about quitting out of fear that it wouldn't succeed?
It's actually zero for me.
It's zero for me too, and that's just a byproduct of, I think, we happen to start it and have success so fast.
Yes.
With the listenership, and some people don't know this. We launched the show in February of 2015, and this was dead doldrums for fantasy. I mean, there's no more dead time than February when the Super Bowl ends and there's no football being played. And we launched it then because we were fantasy fanatics, and we said there needs to be a year-round show where people are talking about the same stuff we're talking about. But I think that inadvertently we just picked a good time because there were other people like us. And we didn't even know if we should wait until the regular season. You
Right.
remember we thought long and hard about,
We did.
oh, man, do we wait until August when the football season goes in? And so I don't think we ever really I never was worried about quitting because we never got to that point where we were teetering on the edge of success. It was just kind of like we started it, people listened, and it picked up. So, sound good?
Yep.
All right, next question. Twitter question from @TF Whisperers. And we got a lot of questions like this. What advice do you give to new podcasters or analysts trying to make it in the world of fantasy football? This is probably the number one question I've received over the last 5 years.
Yep. And my advice for this is always, it sounds cliche, but it is the honest truth. It is the fantasy football space. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people writing. There's a lot of people doing podcasts now. It's very cluttered. It's very, very noisy. So you have to figure out what is it that makes your show special and unique, and the easiest way to do that is the old cliche of find your voice, and that's difficult.
Well, I don't think there's just one way to do it anymore.
Right, but my top tip for finding your voice is when you first turn a microphone on and you're speaking into it, one, it's going to be intimidating because it's just a strange thing to talk into a microphone, hear yourself in headphones. You just got to get used to it. Two, there's going to be a little voice inside your head that says, don't say that because that's not the proper etiquette. That's not what that's not what a professional would do. Now, I'm not if you're doing like if you're a nasty person, you should keep the switch on. Keep those terrible thoughts to yourself. But I'm saying like when I found that confidence and I felt most liberated, it's when I finally turned that voice off. Any terrible joke I think of,
oh gosh,
I throw it out there. 2% of them stick, but those 2% are so sticky.
Well, I think it's more about
sticky.
It's not that sticky, Mike.
So sticky.
What it is you don't want to be inhibited by this ideal in your head that success or your voice or what you have to say has to mimic or look like somebody else. If we had started in this business trying to be Matthew Berry or any of the other established people in the industry, we don't find success that way. And I was going to say, like 10, 15 years ago, the way you found success in this industry was you were a writer.
Right.
You were a stat junkie, and you just grind it. I don't think it's the same way anymore. And this is to extend beyond podcasting to just a lot of people want to be in the industry. They want to be an analyst. You got to build relationships. Social media is brand new to the world of fantasy football over the last 5 years. There are YouTube channels. There are Instagram channels. There are blogs. There are podcasts. There are so many different mediums in which you can express that one unique thing you bring to the industry.
Also remembering this is an entertainment field. You need to entertain.
Yeah,
I think that's really
you're not wrong.
That's an important piece that can be easily looked over.
Twitter ale bonding. Lots of questions like this one as well. Probably one of the more frequent ones we get as well. Do you guys have other jobs, or is this your only job?
Mr. Ale Bonding, thank you for your question. This is it. This is our full-time job. We are...
And has been for a while.
As the kids say, #blessed.
Gosh.
And
somehow I feel worse now.
Yeah, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but legitimately we feel extremely fortunate every day that... it's probably once every few weeks we have the moment where you're like, guys, this is our job.
We're sitting in a room with a cardboard bear.
Yeah. But
Paul Giamatti running the switchboard.
But the past 4 years, this has been our only job.
Yeah, and that we don't take it for granted. Looking at it 4 years later, we want this to maintain and build and keep the relationship with you guys strong. And so that means, we're in it. We're all the way in it. Sometimes people build a relationship with the show and they're like, just please don't go do something else, or don't go. We don't have any ambitions to do something other than what we're doing right now. So
that's right.
Doesn't mean life doesn't change, but this is our passion. This is what we love doing.
Yeah.
So do you want to ask the next one?
The next question is from Joe Calderon. says, who does the voiceover for your segment drop intros?
This is a very common question. By the way, the segment drop intros for both this show and the Spitballers podcast.
Oh, that's a professional transition.
Where so if you're not listening, you got 2 shows right now that the fantasy season's over. If you're not listening to the Spitballers podcast, like if you like us talking about something, which is what we do on this show, I think, we talk about nothing on the Spitballers podcast.
We talk about absolute ridiculous scenarios, and
that's a once-a-week show.
And if you didn't get it, it drops on Mondays. We also do then a fun draft of random stuff and to titilize the appetite and the imagination. This past draft we did was all about us being in a grocery store in a fight to the death using only the food around us.
Yeah, a food fight to the death. So if you want to check that out, the segment, all the segments have a little different vibe to them.
Yep.
But that's the Spitballers podcast. But who does the voiceover, Mike? We'll never tell.
Yeah, we did say ask us anything. We didn't say we would answer everything.
Correct.
That's one of the trade secrets that Mr. X, he says we shan't reveal him.
I want to imagine it's kind of like you remember the Fifth Element movie where they have the little
multipass,
the little creature on the desk of Zurg or whatever his name is. Do you remember this?
His animal?
Yeah, his little animal.
Yeah.
I want to imagine we have just kind of like this secret guy in a box that just comes out. He just comes out and does our intros and then goes back in the box. It's a creature.
It's
That's
actually Jason's child.
Oh.
It's his son.
Child. Yeah.
He's got a very manly voice for his age.
He's 8 years old? Yeah. Instagram question from Jack Becker, or the Jack Becker. I don't want to get confused. Oh, he said, at Footballer's Dad, which is my Instagram handle, wondering if your daughter is adopted, assuming that she is, and then how was the adoption process, asking for a friend. Yeah, my wife and I, we did adopt our daughter. We were there the day she was born. So the experience was unique as I could ever imagine. We have 2 older boys, and our daughter's adopted, and the process is a whirlwind. Anybody out there who's been through it, obviously there are a lot of different ways that adoption happens, through foster care and through the state and through private adoption and those type of things. This person's asking for a friend because he says that the wife and him would like to adopt over the next year or 2. My wife and I simply had a passion for mothers out there that are in difficult situations and have made the brave decision to give up their child to adoption. And that's how we always had that passion from the time we got married and knew we wanted to adopt. And so that's kind of what that came out of. So, it's an experience. Every one thing I know, because we have a lot of friends that are in foster care, that work with adoptive parents. I've never heard an adoption story that's the same as somebody else's.
Right.
They're all very, very unique when it comes to the relationship with the birth parents and the circumstances surrounding them. So definitely a whirlwind. I probably can't remember all the details anymore.
Right.
But we're very we're very thankful for the opportunity we have to adopt. So Instagram question from Cody Newman. Opinions on auction drafts. Just general opinions on auction drafts.
They are long. Very, very long. If you thought your fantasy draft, your snake draft was long, you buckle up if you're going to do an auction draft. They're fun. I like the aspect that you can get anyone. That's the biggest downside of the snake draft is if you have pick number 8 in the first round, 5 players that are literally impossible for you to get, and that can be a big bummer. That's what auction drafts opens up. It's gaining popularity. It's still not my favorite way. I really like the idea or the snake draft of playing the game of who's going to come back to me, getting infuriated when a player gets taken right before you, or you being the one who infuriates someone else because you draft a player.
I don't know if my passion for auction drafts gets watered down by being in a lot of leagues, as opposed to if my only league was an auction draft, I might be all about it every year.
Auction people love
that's what
auction.
I was going to say. If you like auction out there, you love auction. It's like board game people.
Right.
You ever met a board game person? They don't just kind of like board games.
You be careful.
They
be careful
love board games.
Talking about Catan.
Yes.
I love me some Catan.
Settling in.
Oh.
But I like auction drafts.
And the king
I
of the
think
sheep.
They're unique. But we live in the redraft world.
Right.
And the
snake draft.
Snake draft, I mean. All right, Mike Brinlin wants to know, where does that – now, it's not ungodly. It's where does that godly 55 drop come from? 55! Oh! So people don't know where that's from.
So
that's surprising.
The origin story of that, my background, I don't know if you can tell. I'm a little bit rock and roll. I've been known.
I'm a little bit country.
I've been known to get down with the rock. I'm a big fan of especially classic rock, and not that Van Halen is classic rock. Sammy Hagar left Van Halen, of course, and he's very famous because he cannot drive.
No, he can't.
55, and I just 55. Oh! And I was reminded of the song anytime the number would come up, so I just started singing it and more, and it got to the point where it was, yeah, we got to have a drop for this. So
that's really all it takes here on the show. It doesn't take much. There's no formal process.
Remember when we were talking about not being professional on a podcast?
Yeah. We might not be for everybody.
Well, speaking of unprofessional, this one's from Twitter. Ryan Kohler says, "Why do you say Michael Thomas the way that you do?"
Are you talking about Michael Thomas?
That would be the one.
I don't remember.
I know you started it.
I did. I think we say Michael Thomas that way because we said Michael Thomas that way one time.
Yeah.
That's normally how those things start. So at one point in time, it was Michael Thomas.
Like you were,
hey, Michael Thomas?
maybe you were just trying to speed through it.
Yeah.
Is there something Silicon Valley related or is that different one?
Michael Thomas?
I
Michael
don't
Thomas?
watch it.
No,
that's
Matt
Asiata.
Asiata.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Asiata.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Matt Asiata.
Oh. Yeah, I love Asiata.
All right, here's a question. Jackie Thorpe. Did any of you play football in school? I can say definitively, even without Jason being here. No.
No.
None of us played football in school.
However,
yes.
Big
however
is we dominated the rec scene as early 30-year-olds playing flag football.
That's correct.
On the community fields. We even took down.
I might have been late 20s during that period.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, probably early 30s.
But we have played many, many seasons of the flag football.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
So we know what we're talking about.
Hey, that's 8-on-8, full blocking. All right?
So
we've had people tear ACLs, MCLs.
We have had many surgeries.
Yeah.
So if you want to come at us with you never played, you get out of my face.
We've had some,
because I've played flag football.
We've had some industry people come out and play with us.
We have.
Remember?
What? TJ?
Yeah, we had TJ Hernandez come out and play with us.
TJ from 4 for 4 came in. He was a lot better than us.
Yeah.
He's young and fit.
I'm the quarterback, by the way.
I came out to watch you guys play.
Yeah, what'd you think?
And then I knew that it wasn't for me.
Okay.
I couldn't handle it. No.
All right.
Yeah.
The moment
Brooks is the real independent, unbiased voice here.
The moment I knew sports were not for Brooks, we had when he first got into town, and we were trying to get the year of health going on.
Yeah, and he was brand new to the area.
Yeah,
wanted to get him included in our routines.
We're like, Brooks, come on out. We're gonna do some 2v2 basketball.
Oh, God bless your heart.
And I mean, I'm not good. Andy and Jace are both very good at basketball. I'm terrible. Brooks is not as good as I am. And by the end, I'm confident I could beat Brooks.
All right.
Me too.
But by the end, I've never seen a man transform from Brooks he's a great Midwest, got that pasty white skin. His skin looked like he was the devil. It was so red. He was so gassed.
Oh.
It seemed like he couldn't function. And then
you gave it your all, didn't you?
And then
a year's worth of effort into one game.
That's the only time I came
to
play.
And we set up the next one. And Brooks is like, nah,
I'm out, guys.
I'm out.
Here on out, I'm done.
You guys were afraid I was insulted or you hurt my feelings or at some point or something.
Yeah,
because
you only played once.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So, no, we played a lot of flag. None of us played football in high school. I don't think any of us played – well, Jason played some basketball in high school.
I did
And I played baseball.
I did nothing in high school. It was great. I played a lot of video games.
Yeah. James Fisher has a question from Twitter. Have you ever worn makeup for your videos? You're darn right we've worn makeup for our videos.
On the Reg, get in here. What is it? This is, and we get the good stuff too.
They're not sponsored.
Yeah, not a sponsor. This is because we were told it was good.
Yeah, our extensive
we
knowledge
up from
on
Mac.
Yeah.
We're
very glistening. It gets hot in here, and we've been told that we need to put powder on our foreheads so that way we don't reflect the lights back into the YouTube cameras. Yeah, but
if you're on video, you gotta at least powder up. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. You can tell every once in a while, Jason or one of us will forget.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
And you'll be shiny.
It's like the bat signal off the forehead. All right. Instagram question. Which one of you has the weirdest hobby? So that's a good question. Like stamp collecting or magic tricks or Lord of the Rings fandom. Weirdest hobby. I have realized since I've become a father that my hobbies are few and far between, unfortunately.
Yes.
Like there's never like a downtime where I'm like, man, I'd love to start building models.
Right. Before the show and before children, I lost is way too strong. I enjoyed like a year and a half to 2 years of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Which you would call a weird hobby if you never experienced the talons.
I mean, you play guitar. That's not a weird hobby. It's a normal hobby. My wife, and I guess by extension, I get shared in with this weird hobby.
Yeah, this one's weird.
So my wife became a green thumb about 3 years ago and just started buying plants, and my house is filled with plants. Well-kept.
That's not the weird
plants,
part.
But that's not the weird. I'm just trying to
set the table.
You don't go straight into raising frogs.
That's not the weird part.
But we do have a biosphere little tank in our house, and we have poison dart frogs in this thing. And we've got the 3 kids that love the frogs, but really my wife loves the frogs more than anybody else.
Yeah, but you got to talk about what's in the laundry room.
Oh, well, you do. We also have a bearded dragon,
and
then there's the laundry room, which has some of the things.
Bearded dragon's got to eat.
A bearded dragon's got to eat. So
got to eat.
In the laundry room is where my wife cultures different small insects to feed these creatures.
There is a bucket of cockroaches.
That is another way to put it.
It is terrifying.
Yeah, it hasn't left Mike since he found out about that.
No.
And I like bowling a lot.
Brooks likes bowling. Do you still bowl, Brooks?
Not as much as I'd like. Not on the regular.
I will crush you.
Oh, footballers bowling, it's on.
We really need to do that. And I will not crush you. But I like competition a whole lot. So we got to do that.
All right.
Fat Tommy? Fat Tommy 1.
Yeah.
You know what Fat Tommy 1 reminds me of? For no reason? Tony Meatballs.
Oh,
Do you remember? If you're out there listening and you go back long enough to remember Tony Meatballs.
Or if you're Tony.
Tony Meatballs. When we had the voicemail hotline, one of the first callers on the regular was a guy named Tony Meatballs.
Yes.
And he would call in with a fantasy question. Always great questions.
Yeah.
I just hope you're out there and you're okay, Tony. Eddie Spaghetti, Tony Meatballs. I need you back. What is the best way of kicking someone out of your league that is a friend? All right, this is a tough question from Fat Tommy. We talk so much on this show about building a great, strong league and that one or two bad owners ruins the league for everybody else. So what do you do? How would you go about that, Mike? I know you'd never kick me out because I'm tremendous.
No, you're a fantastic addition to the league. Kicking someone out, it becomes difficult when they are seemingly all about the league. The couple people that we've had to move on or retire from our league of record, I mean, it was the writing was on the wall, and it was they had a foot out already. They just needed the permission.
Yes,
to us to be like,
that is the case. Sometimes.
Do you really have the time and the passion and energy? And each time we've had to have that uncomfortable conversation, they've all said, "Yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't be in the league anymore." So it's been gentle for us, and we've maintained the friendship. But kicking out your friend who likes to be in the league, but they just are a poison for the league.
I mean, most of the time,
rough.
you just got to level with them. and keep the conversation to the league and why it's important. Sometimes you might just need to leave them in the league. If they're a really close friend, I'm not saying under every circumstance you kick out an owner that's inactive. It might be more important to you.
Maybe they improve once you have a conversation of, like, look, this game is dumb. I get it. But we take this very seriously, and if you're going to play with us, we need you to take it equally as serious.
And I've got there's a magic trick to be had in this situation.
All
a little
right.
stepping stone to saving any awkwardness.
Okay.
It's called the co-owner. If you can get that person, maybe they're not as active, and you can just kind of ease in and say, I noticed that you weren't really active. We're trying to get really active owners. Is there any way that you'd be willing to do a co-owner situation, stay in the league, but then have somebody to help out manage the team?
Interesting.
Right? Could happen.
Interesting.
Kind of like what you guys are saying, the expectations need to be made clear during the season to everybody.
Well, and that's where, like, creating some sort of doc or something where you're saying, hey, here are the basic rules or tenets of the league. It doesn't have to be some, like, 30-page document. It can be, like, 5 really important things about the league. You know, you're always doing this. If this doesn't happen, then this happens. You know, you just want the league to be fun for everybody, especially if there's leagues with money involved.
Right.
Instagram from Hyrule.
So, I was earlier in the show, we had someone asked, which a very nice question, but it's clearly specifically for Andy. Only Andy can answer the story about adopting his daughter. Then Hyrule comes in here with this question, and I'm triggered. I feel attacked.
Why is that, Mike? Because this is a very open question. Anybody could be the answer. The question is simply, who has the biggest head?
Because it's me. It's me, and it's
Have
not
you've
close.
You've accepted it.
I've accepted the large cranium that I have. It's mine. It's the only one I've got.
There's a running joke based in reality on this show where Mike, when we go to these different events, conferences, live shows, whatever,
Look, the photo.
you take a picture.
There's the rule about the camera adding 10 pounds. But a photography camera adds 3 pounds to only Mike's head.
His head looks twice as big as everybody else's head in all pictures.
It makes no sense.
And the thing I'd be worried about, Mike, just being honest with you, leveling with you,
It's not the tumor.
is that the older you get, from what I see,
It's getting bigger.
in Hollywood, your ears and your head, they just get bigger. So we're talking John Travolta level head. We're talking,
Oh, no.
yeah, you could get there.
Am I going to get that Aikman head?
You could get the Troy Aikman head.
Oh, no.
So I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
At some point, you're probably going to have to cut your hair back just to try to reduce the perception of your head. It's tough. It's a tough situation. It's clearly Mike, though, right, Brooks? No questions?
yeah.
No questions?
Yes. Do they do, like, skull shaving?
Skull shaving.
Just thin it out a little
Oh,
bit.
my gosh. Yeah, Mike's out this week. Jay Gray's filling in. He's getting his skull reduced.
Those complications. Mike's out for 2 months from his skull shaving.
No, we're doing more Industrial Light and Magic style stuff with you. We're going to have the cameras just you're going to sit back in your chair a little bit. This is like how they did Lord of the Rings with the Hobbit stuff. You need camera angles to get your head smaller. Oh, man, that's – all right, Facebook. Adam has a question. He wants advice on adding on a dynasty team to an existing league.
That's really hard.
So you got a dynasty team. It's loaded up with players everywhere. How do you add on to an existing league?
Oh, man.
Well,
So
you're probably having to add 2 teams. In
yeah,
right?
you have to add the 2 because you want the teams to be even, so somebody's not on a bye week every week. It's messy, it's complicated, but I feel like the best solution I've heard, I've never experienced it, but the best solution I've ever heard for a dynasty is that everyone gets to protect 6 players or whatever, depending on your roster size, from their own roster, and then the 2 new teams get to do an expansion draft from the existing teams.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way that you can really do that successfully. I mean, you have to have, there's just nothing on the waiver wire in the majority of these dynasty leagues. Those teams have no chance if they're not drafting from the existing pool. So some sort of protected. I mean, it's much like they do expansion drafts on professional leagues,
right?
Where you protect a certain amount of players, and then the rest are eligible for draft picks, and then those players probably alternate picks, and it's doable. It's not impossible. We expanded a dynasty league from 10 to 12.
Oh, it's a keeper league.
Keeper league, I mean.
Yeah.
And we did that via draft pick organization and stuff like that. All right, let's go to this one. Comes in from Twitter, Brooks2020 at Brooks the Judge.
Wait a minute.
That's real.
That's real. There's a Brooks the Judge.
No,
handle?
there's not.
Brooks, how's that feel?
It's interesting.
Is this related to you?
It has
At
to
Brooks
be.
the Judge. Well, it's avatarless. If this was the Patreon show,
I like
you'd
how
get
he
the
said it
horn.
has to be, as though there couldn't be one person that's a judge in the world named Brooks. That's great. Our lives revolve around
I
this
changed
show.
my answer of who's got the biggest head.
Yeah, well done. All right, if you started a band together, what would the band name be, and what instruments would you play? I can tell you this. I'm playing guitar, Mike. I know you're a better guitarist, but you can play bass.
That's fine. My heart is I'm a bass player.
Yeah, so and I can only play.
Slap of the bass.
I can play like a chord progression on the old acoustic.
A little GCD action.
I can
a
get
little
it.
1 4
I
5.
can get into the A's and the D minors.
Oh
Yeah.
oh, minor and major.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, you Josh Rosen. Here we go. Jason, can he keep a tune? Is he more of a cymbals guy?
I feel like he's
Do we give him the triangle? The cowbell.
he's the weirdest, and it's a documented fact that drummers are just weird.
So that works.
Yeah, we'll put him on the drums. We'll be a 3-piece.
How soon till he drums the drumstick? I mean, that's because
I
really
didn't factor in the clumsiness.
3/4 of the
'Cause-
song has no drums.
because they're weird, but they're also some of the most coordinated people we've ever met.
Right. That's the problem. You might need to move him on to something a little.
We'll put him on the drum machine.
He's
Hit the play.
he's the bong.
he's the DJ. He's DJ Moore.
Oh, DJ Moore. Yeah.
And he's like, these people who are like, I'm a DJ.
We got there.
I got an Apple playlist.
We got. I got an Apple play. He can handle that. Boop. Okay.
DJ.
We need a band name though.
Wow.
I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, off the top of your head, coming up with a funny band name is
Big Benny and the Jets.
Big Ben.
I don't know.
Who's
I
Big
don't-
Ben? Are you Big Benny?
No, you are the big head.
Oh.
I don't know, Brooks. If you think of a good band name for us, throw it out there, okay?
All right.
You probably won't.
Probably not.
Where can I buy this season's nickname T-shirt? That's from Brad. The nickname T-shirt is in the works. It's basically done. It is not online, mostly because of my fault.
Yeah.
It should be up. It's done. The shirt is done.
Okay.
Um,
Shopballers.com is where
it will be on shopballers.com.
If you ever want some footballers gear, you want to rock that out, you want to be repping the Flow Clan out there.
Here are the names on the shirt: Booty Scoot and Cam Newton, Mr. Beehole, Hot Locket, The Infinity Stone, Darnold Schwarzenegger, Red Dead Dixon, Josh Stallion, Jared Garf, Fitness Consigliere, Tariq, the Dinosaur Hunter, Mark Waltenberg, and Carry On My Wayward Son.
Oh,
Those are the ones on the shirt.
That's
and
good.
they're coming out. How often do you guys, this is from Katie Hill,
You got to read that handle.
at Hiding From My Kids.
I love it, Katie.
Aren't we all?
I love it.
How often do you guys decide on nicknames beforehand, and how often do they randomly spill out of your mouths during the show?
I don't know if we've
I think there might have been one time you mentioned that you had a nickname in mind, but you didn't tell us.
Right.
I think every nickname from all the shirts and seasons, the rest have come on the show.
Yeah, and they're just spur
I can't
of the
even remember
moments.
which one you thought of beforehand. It might be none. It might be none of them. So most often the moments on this show and the nicknames on this show happen on this show.
Yep.
So that's what makes them great. You never know they're coming. That's why they're legitimately surprising us, like the funky news drop. Which
we're going back to that? Next question. Twitter, Zach Williamson at ZCuds13. Do you get starstruck interviewing players?
do you get starstruck interviewing players?
The first few times it was
Probably.
very odd.
Yeah, I don't know if starstruck's the way I would describe it, though. It's a little intimidating. And people have different agendas. Like some of our interviews have been a process of like a media day, right? Where they're going from interview to interview
Yeah.
and you're just kind of getting it done. Others have been less like that, more
Just a
personal.
one-off, yeah.
Yeah. So certainly been intimidated by that, especially earlier on when we hadn't done it a lot and we wanted to do right by the interview.
Yeah, interviewing people is definitely a learned skill over time.
Yeah, I mean, because you will interview them much worse when you are paranoid and afraid and you have a laundry list of questions and things like that. You need to be able to react to them.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon was a very large man.
That's just a statement. Melvin Gordon was a very large man. A very large man indeed.
He looked like a superhero.
Bigger head than you?
Slightly bigger biceps.
Oh, okay. Than you.
Slightly,
yeah. Well, it was funny.
Our calves are the same, though.
Didn't we we interviewed Ronald Jones and then Melvin Gordon the next day?
Yeah.
And kind of got the understanding of like, okay, that's why they say Ronald Jones is undersized.
Yeah.
Or that's why they say Melvin Gordon's humongous. Yeah, that's interesting. How many leagues is too many? John Martin wants to know.
It's all in the eye of the beholder.
It really is. For us, there's levels of leagues,
right.
I think. We have like 3-4 that we super focus on, that we're all in on, and then other ones that we kind of share together when we're in industry leagues or things like that.
Yeah, it's up to you. For me, 3 is kind of the magic number of leagues that I can hit the waiver. I can hit Tuesday at night on the waivers and not go, crap, I got to do this league too.
All right, last question here on today's AMA. Appreciate everybody sending them in. Instagram question from Pat Figueroa 7.
Figueroa.
What's our Instagram handle? So people can go
Fantasy Footballers.
Bam.
And
Bam.
Andy snuck his in earlier. So
I did? You mean Footballer's Dad on Instagram?
Yeah, you should also follow at Fantasy Hitman on Instagram. It's
Either one.
They're great accounts.
Or both.
They're Grammy.
They're so wonderful. What is your favorite type of league? Redraft, keeper, or dynasty? You had to pick one to play the rest of your life, Mike.
I would go with the keeper. That's
the nice balance of
keeper's my favorite. Dynasty would be my second favorite, and redraft is still great. But if I got to order it, it's third.
Yeah, I'm with you on that actually. And I what's nice about a dynasty league is I feel like, if you told me I had to be in 3 keepers or 3 redrafts, that would be less attractive than spreading those out, because dynasty you don't have to have that big formal, draft day. You've got your rookie draft. You can focus on the draft in the keeper league or the redraft league. It's nice. It's a nice compliment. All right, that is it for today's show. But before we leave,
pristine deal of the day.
Woo! Yeah, that's so endearing. Is this offer.
If it doesn't bring a smile to your face, you don't have a mouth.
Okay. Mike Evans signed Buccaneers jersey on pristineauction.com. Yesterday, it sold for $77.40. Who do we have on the wall today?
Not Mike Evans. Good work, Brooks.
Oh, gosh. All right. Mike Evans signed Buccaneers jersey. Hundreds of daily auctions, pristineauction.com. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
We have Todd Gurley up there. They're making the account for Pristine Auctions free. We love those guys.
Yeah. You're going to hear about them because there's a pristine deal of the day every single day. All right. That is it for today's episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. Kind of a fun, different show today. Back with the Truth episodes next week. Jason will be back. Going to dive in. Going to be fun.
We'll see you next week, Foot Clan. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.